Every night, somewhere in the world, a pizza is being pulled from an oven.
Fresh from the oven.
New York, in Naples, in Tokyo, in São Paulo. It is, without question, the most universally loved food on earth. A flatbread with cheese and toppings that has crossed every border, every culture, every class. But pizza was not born as a luxury. It began as food for the poor. A cheap, fast meal for people who had almost nothing else. Its story is one of survival, migration, war, and eventually an empire of flavor that conquered the planet. This is the history of pizza. Long before the word pizza existed, flatbreads topped with oil, herbs, and cheese were common across the ancient Mediterranean. The Greeks ate a flatbread called plakos, seasoned with garlic, onion, and herbs. The Romans had their own version, sometimes topped with honey and bay leaves. But these early flatbreads lacked one crucial ingredient that would define pizza forever: the tomato. And tomatoes didn't even exist in Europe yet. They were thousands of miles away, growing wild in the Andes Mountains of South America, completely unknown to anyone on the Italian peninsula. For pizza to become pizza, an entire ocean would first have to be crossed. In the early 1500s, Spanish conquistadors brought tomato seeds back from the Americas. But Europeans were suspicious. Tomatoes belonged to the nightshade family, the same family as deadly belladonna, and many believed they were poisonous. For over a century, tomatoes were grown only as ornamental curiosities, admired for their color, but never eaten. It was the poor of southern Italy, particularly around Naples, who eventually broke that fear. With little food and even less money, they began experimenting. If the wealthy wouldn't eat tomatoes, the hungry would. By the late 1700s, tomatoes had found their way onto flatbread in the streets of Naples. And with that, the first true pizza was born. In 19th century Naples, pizza was strictly food for the poor, the lazzaroni as they were called. It was sold on the street, folded and eaten by hand, cheap enough for a laborer's lunch. Wealthy Italians considered it beneath them. That changed, according to legend, in 1889. When Queen Margherita of Savoy visited Naples, a local pizzaiolo named Raffaele Esposito is said to have created a pizza in her honor, topped with tomato, mozzarella, and basil, echoing the colors of the Italian flag: red, white, and green. Whether the legend is entirely true or partly folklore, the name stuck. The Margherita pizza became a symbol of Italian identity itself. And pizza's reputation began, slowly, to rise. Between 1880 and 1920, millions of Italians, many from Naples and the surrounding region, fled poverty and crossed the Atlantic to the United States. Families like the Contis, one household representing thousands of similar stories, carried little with them, but among what they brought was the memory of this humble flatbread. Immigrant bakers began opening small pizzerias in Italian neighborhoods, including the first licensed pizzeria in the United States, opened in New York City's Little Italy in 1905. At first, pizza remained a food eaten almost exclusively within Italian immigrant communities. Everything changed after World War II. American soldiers who had served in Italy returned home with a taste for the dish, and pizzerias began opening across the country. What had once been peasant food in Naples was about to become an American cultural phenomenon. In the decades that followed, pizza was transformed again, this time by industry. Frozen pizza arrived in American supermarkets in the 1950s. Chains like Pizza Hut, founded in 1958, and Domino's, founded in 1960, turned pizza into a fast, delivered, standardized product. Pizza was no longer a dish tied to one city in Italy. it became infinitely adaptable. Deep dish in Chicago, thin crust in New York, pineapple and ham in Canada. Each culture reshaped it in its own image, while the original Neapolitan version remained a protected tradition, eventually earning UNESCO Cultural Heritage status in 2017. Today, more than 5 billion pizzas are sold worldwide every year. It has travelled from the hands of hungry street vendors in Naples to royal tables, immigrant kitchens, industrial factories, and now endless custom orders on a phone screen. Pizza's story is really the story of food itself. How something born from poverty and necessity can, over centuries, become one of humanity's great shared pleasures. A simple flatbread, once dismissed by the wealthy, has become the one dish nearly every culture on Earth now claims as its own.